if there was a way to truly stabilize your blood sugar levels and maybe even boost fat burning, even if hitting the gym or going for a run isn't always easy or even possible for you.
It's a question a lot of people grapple with.
Exactly. And today we're diving into a fascinating area of science that might just offer a really surprising and potentially powerful answer.
Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is where we take your sources, could be articles, cutting-edge research papers, even our own detailed notes, and we really try to pull out the most important bits of knowledge for you.
Yep, it's your shortcut to getting properly informed. We aim for those surprising facts and just enough insight to keep things interesting.
That's the goal.
So today we are unpacking the latest research on something called neuromuscular electrical stimulation. You might have heard it called EMS.
Right?
And we're looking at its, well, pretty surprising potential for metabolic health.
And this isn't just guesswork. Our deep dive today is grounded in a solid, peer-reviewed study. It was recently published in the European Journal of Applied Physiology.
Real science, basically, but we're aiming to make it easy to understand and bring it right to you.
And, as we explore this research, it's interesting to see how technology is playing a role. Things like advanced muscle stimulators, from innovative brands like Orium's Fit. They're really paving the way for new approaches to wellness.
Making these science-backed ideas more accessible, potentially.
Exactly. Making it easier to bring these benefits into your daily life.
Okay, so let's set the stage first. The challenge. Sedentary lifestyles. We hear about it all the time, don't we?
We do. It's a huge issue.
And physical inactivity, it's not just about maybe gaining a few pounds. It's a major risk factor for some serious metabolic problems.
We're talking things like insulin resistance, problems with how your body handles glucose.
And a condition called hyperglycemia. That's essentially when your fasting blood glucose is consistently a bit high, say between 100 and 125 milligrams per deciliter.
And that's often a warning sign, isn't it? It can be a slippery slope towards developing type 2 diabetes.
It really can. That hyperglycemia stage is critical. The data actually shows that around 38% of people with hyperglycemia go on to develop type 2 diabetes within about 9 years.
Wow, that's a significant number. It really highlights this pathway. We need to find ways to interrupt.
Yeah, and EMS might just be one of those ways. So we know muscle contraction is really potent for controlling glucose, right? Exercise helps your body use blood sugar better, sometimes even without needing as much insulin.
Absolutely fundamental.
But what about people who genuinely struggle with traditional exercise? Maybe adherence is low, or maybe our modern environment just encourages sitting too much. Does that mean their metabolic health, their fat-burning goals are just stalled?
Well, it's a very real problem. For many people, especially those dealing with obesity or type 2 diabetes, there can be significant physiological barriers to getting active regularly.
Like what specifically?
Think about it. Someone might really want to be healthier. They know exercise is important, but their body almost fights against it. They might have a decreased capacity to oxidize lipids, basically, burn fat effectively.
Okay.
Or they might suffer from musculoskeletal pain, maybe joint issues, or even peripheral neuropathy, which is nerve damage that can make movement painful or difficult.
So sustained activity becomes incredibly challenging, almost impossible for some.
It's a really frustrating cycle to be stuck in.
That makes sense. So if exercise is so important but often hard to access or do, what's the alternative? And this is where neuromuscular electrical stimulation comes back into the picture.
Right, and this is where the science gets quite exciting, I think. EMS, this neuromuscular electrical stimulation, it's a non-invasive method. It's practical, often pretty cost-effective too.
And how does it work, essentially?
It uses electrical impulses to induce muscle contractions. Deep contractions, often. So you're activating your muscles in a powerful, controlled way, but without the voluntary effort you'd need for conventional exercise.
Ah, so it kind of bypasses those barriers we just talked about.
Exactly. Get your muscles working, contracting, using energy, even if you can't or perhaps don't want to, actively move them yourself.
It's pretty fascinating that technology can work around those challenges. Now, EMS isn't brand new, is it? It's been used in rehab for years.
That's right. Clinically, it's used for things like preventing muscle atrophy, muscle wasting in people who are bedridden, for instance, or helping someone regain muscle mass and function after an injury or surgery.
But this study we're looking at today fills a specific gap, doesn't it?
It does, because until recently, there wasn't much solid research on how effective EMS is specifically for regulating glycemic-controlled blood sugar in people who are sedentary, overweight, or obese, especially in populations already at higher risk.
Okay, so let's dive into the study itself. The full title is quite descriptive.
It is. It's neuromuscular electrical stimulation enhances glycemic control and carbohydrate utilization in sedentary, predominantly Hispanic, overweight, or obese individuals with hyperglycemia, led by Jehu Anapaflo and colleagues.
Right, a solid foundation for our discussion and their main goal.
Pretty clear cut. They wanted to test if just a single session, an acute session, of this neuromuscular electrical stimulation could actually improve glycemic control, maybe increase energy expenditure, calorie burn, and also affect something called the respiratory exchange ratio, or RER.
RER. We'll need to unpack that a bit later.
We will. And they specifically focused on individuals who were hyperglycemic, sedentary, overweight, or obese, and predominantly from a Hispanic population.
Tell us about the participants.
Sure. They recruited 56 sedentary individuals, 19 men, 37 women, aged between 18 and 60. Their average BMI was around 34.8, putting them firmly in the overweight or obese categories.
And the demographic focus?
Really important here, 86% of the participants self-identified as Hispanic, and critically, all of them had fasting glucose levels of 100 milli-GDL or higher. So they were all in that hyperglycemic range, and actually, 19% already had a type 2 diabetes diagnosis.
Why is focusing on this predominantly Hispanic population significant in the U.S. context?
Well, unfortunately, this community often experiences a higher prevalence of both obesity and sedentariness compared to non-Hispanic groups. Plus, they frequently face socioeconomic barriers that can make regular physical activity difficult to access or maintain.
So EMS could be a particularly impactful tool for this community, offering something practical, accessible.
Potentially, yes. Where traditional exercise might face more hurdles, this could be a viable alternative.
Okay, let's talk methodology. How did they actually run the experiment?
It was quite well controlled. Participants came in after an overnight fast and had a single 30-minute session of EMS applied to both their quadriceps muscles, the big muscles on the front of the thighs.
Just one session.
For this part of the study, yes, they wanted to see the acute effects. But they monitored things closely. Glucose levels were tracked continuously for over 48 hours using those continuous glucose monitors, CGMs.
Ah, so you get the full picture, not just a snapshot.
Exactly. They compared the day with the EMS session to a separate control day without it. They also measured energy expenditure and what fuels the body was using via indirect calorimetry.
And food intake.
Controlled. They provided a standardized eucaloric diet on both days, so nutrition wasn't a confounding factor.
Smart. What about the EMS protocol itself? What kind of stimulation was it?
They placed electrodes bilaterally on both quads. The device delivered what's called a cycled biphasic waveform. The frequency was 50 hertz, which is considered high frequency, good for strong contractions. Pulse duration was 300 microseconds.
And the timing.
It was continuous stimulation for 30 minutes, but using a duty cycle of 10 seconds on, then 30 seconds off. That rhythm helps get deep engagement without totally fatiguing the muscles too quickly.
And intensity, was it the same for everyone?
No, and that's important. It was adjusted individually up to each person's maximum tolerance level, ranging from 1 to 120 milliamps. This ensures it's effective, but still comfortable enough to endure for the 30 minutes.
Okay, makes sense. Now, the exciting part, the results. What did they actually find? Let's start with glycemic control.
Right, so the immediate effect was noticeable. That single 30-minute session acutely reduced average glucose levels. They went from about 116.2 milli-GDL just before the stimulation down to 113.2 milli-GDL right after.
So a measurable drop right away.
Yes. But here's what I think is the really significant, perhaps even novel finding. When they looked at the full 24 hours using the CGM data, while the average glucose level over the whole 24 hours didn't change dramatically between the EMS day and the control day, the stability of the blood sugar did, significantly.
Stability, you mean fewer big spikes and crashes?
Precisely. They measured glucose variability using the standard deviation of the glucose readings over 24 hours. On the EMS day, that variability was significantly lower, 18.0 milli-GL, compared to the control day, which is 20.0 milli-GL.
Okay, why is that such a big deal? Lower variability, fewer ups and downs?
It's huge. Think of your blood sugar like maybe a roller coaster across the day. For a long time, the focus was just on keeping the average height of the roller coaster low.
Makes sense.
But what this research and other emerging science suggests is that maybe the smoothness of the ride is just as, if not more, important. Those big, rapid swings, high peaks, followed by sharp drops, that high variability is what really puts stress on your body's systems.
Ah, okay. Like metabolic whiplash.
Kind of. That high variability is increasingly linked to inflammation, oxidative stress, and ultimately the development and progression of diabetes complications eye problems, kidney issues, nerve damage.
So reducing those fluctuations, improving that stability, even if the daily average only nudges slightly, is actually a major win for long-term health.
Absolutely. It's becoming a preferred target now for improving overall blood glucose control, moving beyond just single readings or even averages. Flattening that curve, smoothing the ride, that seems key.
That's really fascinating. Okay, beyond glucose, what about energy expenditure? Did the EMS actually make them burn more calories?
Yes, significantly. During the 30 minutes of stimulation, their energy expenditure went up markedly. It clearly showed the muscles were actively working, contracting, and demanding fuel.
Okay, so the muscles were definitely doing something. And what about that RER thing you mentioned? Respiratory exchange ratio.
Right, RER. So RER basically tells us what kind of fuel your body is primarily burning at any given moment. An RER closer to zero point 0.7 means you're burning mostly fat. An RER closer to 1.0 means you're burning mostly carbohydrates or glucose.
Got it. Fat versus carbs indicator.
Essentially, yes. And what they found was that during the EMS stimulation, the RER increased. It went from an average of 0.79 beforehand to 0.80 during, with the biggest jump happening in the first 5 minutes.
So an increase means?
It means their bodies shifted towards burning more carbohydrates, more glucose during the stimulation.
Which makes sense if the muscles are contracting and needing quick energy, right?
Exactly. Muscle contraction, whether it's from voluntary exercise like running or induced by EMS, dramatically increases the muscle cell's demand for oxygen and energy.
And carbs are often the preferred quick fuel source.
They are. So this increased demand pulls glucose out of the bloodstream to fuel those contractions, which helps explain both the acute drop in glucose levels we saw and this shift in RER towards carbohydrate utilization.
Is there anything unique about how EMS causes this compared to regular exercise?
Well, one interesting aspect is muscle fiber recruitment. Conventional exercise usually recruits your slower twitch, endurance-focused type I fibers first, and then brings in the faster twitch, power-focused type 2 fibers as intensity increases.
Okay.
EMS, however, can often stimulate both type I and type 2 fibers more non-selectively right from the start. Engaging those type 2 fibers, which rely heavily on glucose, might lead to a relatively higher utilization of carbohydrates compared to some forms of voluntary exercise.
So potentially a very effective way to get muscles burning glucose quickly.
It seems that way, based on this study.
Okay, let's pull back a bit. So what are the real-world implications here?
Well, they're potentially quite profound. This research strongly suggests that EMS could be a really valuable tool for preventing type 2 diabetes, particularly in those high-risk groups we discussed.
By offering a practical way to improve glycemic control, especially that crucial stability.
Exactly. And it directly addresses many of those common barriers to traditional exercise. Think about people who feel they lack willpower, or they're always tired, or they don't have time, or they're afraid of getting injured.
Or maybe self-conscious about exercising in public.
All of that, especially in communities facing socioeconomic constraints, or gym memberships or safe places to exercise, might be limited. EMS offers something accessible, something you could potentially do at home.
Let's talk practical advantages then. What makes it appealing?
Okay, several things. First, it's simple and non-invasive, generally very well tolerated. This study reported little to no adverse events.
Good to know.
It's portable. Many EMS devices are small. You can use them basically anywhere. This means you could potentially apply it unsupervised at home, which is huge for convenience and adherence.
Much cheaper than traveling to a clinic or gym all the time.
Definitely more cost-effective in that sense. And it's multitasking friendly. You could genuinely use it while reading, watching TV, maybe even working at a desk, depending on the device and placement.
And that convenience factor could lead to people actually sticking with it more consistently, right? Higher adherence.
That's the hope, and off to the reality. If something fits easily into your life, you're more likely to do it regularly.
So if this tech offers these benefits, better glucose stability, increased energy use, overcoming barriers, it makes you think about how these solutions are actually reaching people.
Right, and that's where innovation from brands comes in. You mentioned Orium's Fit earlier. They're really focused on designing muscle stimulators, enhanced with this EMS technology, that are both powerful and portable.
Making it practical for daily life.
Exactly, and it's interesting, Orium's Fit has actually been recognized as Best Product of the Year for 2 years, running by productreview.com.au. That's Australia's big product review authority.
2 years in a row, that says something.
It really does speak volumes about the quality and I think the impact of the technology they're developing. They're essentially making it easier for people to bring these kinds of science-backed metabolic benefits right into their own homes.
That's a significant endorsement. And is EMS just for people who can't exercise?
Not necessarily. Some research actually suggests that incorporating EMS into regular workouts might have an additive effect. It could potentially boost gains in muscle mass and strength beyond what exercise alone achieves.
So it could be a standalone solution or an enhancement?
Potentially, yes. Optimizing results for both fitness goals and, importantly, metabolic health.
Looking forward then, what's next? What did the study author say needs more research?
Oh, the big one is long-term effects. This was an acute study, looking at a single session. The crucial next step is to see if using EMS chronically, regularly, over weeks and months, can provide a sustainable strategy to manage hyperglycemia and actually prevent the progression to diabetes.
We need those longer-term trials.
Absolutely. And there are other questions too, like could we get even better results by stimulating multiple muscle groups at once, maybe using whole-body electrical stimulation suits?
Ah, interesting.
And are there optimal times a day to use it for the best metabolic effects? Before meals, after meals. We still need to figure out how to best fine-tune and maximize the benefits.
Lots more to explore then. So let's quickly recap the main takeaways from this deep dive on neuromuscular electrical stimulation.
Okay, the key message is that EMS shows significant potential. It can acutely improve glycemic control, and importantly, it seems particularly good at reducing that harmful glucose variability.
Smoothing out the blood sugar roller coaster.
Exactly. It also increases energy expenditure and shifts fuel use towards carbohydrates during stimulation.
Making it a really promising alternative for people who face barriers to conventional exercise.
Definitely. And maybe even a tool for anyone looking to optimize their metabolic health and potentially enhance fat burning efficiency.
This knowledge, though, it's most powerful when you think critically about it and see how it might apply to you, isn't it?
Always. Considering different angles, understanding the nuances that's essential in today's world with so much information out there.
So the final thought to leave you with is this. What does this all mean for you personally? Could integrating smart, accessible technology like this, something that gently but powerfully stimulates your muscles, could that be a real game changer in your journey towards better blood sugar, maybe enhanced fat burning, and overall better metabolic health?
It's definitely something worth pondering.
And if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity about these kinds of innovative wellness solutions,
Then you might want to explore what companies like Orium's Fit are doing with their muscle stimulators that use this EMS technology. They really are working to make this powerful science accessible.
and we want to make sure you can follow up too. For more detailed articles and even links to the original study we discussed today, definitely check out the Orium's Fit research blog.
Yeah, it's a great resource. It's packed with peer-reviewed insights to help you make informed decisions about your health and wellness journey.
Also, take a look at the main Orium's Fit website for their latest product updates, and you can join their community there too.
And please remember, you're a really valued part of this deep dive community as well. We always appreciate it when you comment, share, or follow the deep dive wherever you get your podcasts.
Your engagement genuinely helps us continue to bring this kind of important, potentially life-changing research to light. Thanks for joining us.